Good afternoon, and welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program.
The Southwest TV Translator Association underwrites the news, and Dolores County Broadcasting Network provides the support for DCTV.
The News at Noon program assembles the best and most interesting news from the area, offers intriguing content for its viewers, and provides local weather for the Four Corners region. What do you think? Give us a call with news tips or topics you'd like to see covered. The number is 677-4119.
I'm Kendra Cook, and my co-hosts are Kelsey Kiesling right here at the desk with me, and Jerry Tope, who will deliver the weather details later on in the broadcast. So here's what's in the news for July 5th, 2016. Breaking news reported in the Durango Herald from last week. Around 7:30 p.m. a week ago today, Donna Frank was tending to a large crowd in her art gallery at 104 East 5th Street when she alerted that two males were taking the attire off the taxidermic sheep perched outside the store. When Frank approached the two men, they dropped all the items on the ground, ran off with the sheep to the parking lot behind the store, and took off in an early 1990s red Datsun. It had the real feeling of a dare, Frank said. They just wanted the sheep. For the past 8 years, Frank has placed the taxidermic sheep gifted to her by a group of Navajo ranchers outside her shop, usually dressed in colorful garb. On May 27th, Frank reported the sheep stolen, only to have it found the next morning. Although Frank believed the sheep was dropped off in the lobby of the Durango police station, Lieutenant Ray Shoup said the once living and breathing animal was retrieved by other means. Shoup said a suspicious call of underage drinking by two males led officers to the decorative sheep. It was seized by officers because they knew it was stolen, but officers couldn't get affirmation they had stolen it. They claimed they found it on the south side about 45 minutes before officers contacted them, and that it didn't have clothing on it when they found it. It's not the first time businesses in town have been subject to Durango's penchant for oddball copycat crimes. In the early 2000s, a bondage-garbed mannequin named Esmeralda at the Fallen Angel adult novelty store was the target of multiple thefts, with one perpetrator going so far as to break in through a window. Truffles, the large stuffed bear outside the Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory on Main Avenue, was also repeatedly stolen over the years. However, a manager said that hasn't happened recently. And the arc of history has its own beleaguered history of tamperings. Frank said the two males were in their 20s, one Caucasian, the other possibly Hispanic. They were wearing hoodies and jeans at the time of the theft. Frank, in a bizarre feeling of deja vu, said she just hopes the sheep is returned. It was really a wonderful symbol to all of us to have the sheep guarding the store instead of us having to guard the sheep.
According to the Cortez Journal, no charges have been filed against Michelle Northcutt for the June 6th crash. Prosecutors said last week they are still working the case. The family of Tin Cooper said they are growing frustrated by the delay and lack of answers from police and prosecutors. District Attorney Todd Risberg said Friday he's waiting for additional reports from the Durango Police Department, but he declined to be more specific about what evidence is being collected or the time frame for filing charges, if any. The Durango Police Department did not respond Friday to a request for comment. Cooper, 52, of La Plata County, died June 6th after being struck from behind by a woman driving a Toyota SUV south on Colorado Highway 3 near the Walmart intersection. The motorcycle was pushed into an F-150 Ford pickup, also stopped at the light, waiting to turn left onto South Camino del Rio. The motorcycle burst into flames upon impact. Northcutt, 51, was seen weaving before the crash. The driving behavior was apparently so unusual that a man driving behind her shot a short video using Snapchat. It shows half the width of the Land Cruiser over the right shoulder lane for about 6 seconds before drifting back into the driving lane. The witness told police he thought the driver was drunk or sleepy because she was all over the road. She crossed the center line and the white fog line a few times, he said. The driver appeared to be holding her head in her left hand, he told police. According to an accident report, Northcutt admitted to taking an antidepressant at 10 the night before the crash and smoking marijuana at 5 a.m. the morning of the crash. She said she went back to bed after consuming 3 or 4 hits of marijuana. The crash occurred at 10:26 a.m. Durango police officers had Northcutt perform roadside maneuvers to test for sobriety, but they didn't find any obvious signs of impairment, according to accident reports. She appeared in shock and spoke a little thick-tongued, Corporal Brian Heaton wrote in his report. Wyatt Cooper, son of Tim Cooper, said he doesn't understand why Northcutt wasn't given more tests after she admitted to smoking pot the morning of the crash. If someone drank 2 beers and killed a dog, they would be arrested, he said. But apparently, if you kill someone and you admit to being high, they won't take you in.
Commissioners have agreed to ask voters in November to approve a county sales tax that would finance new broadband infrastructure for improved internet service countywide. Believing that providing high-speed, affordable internet services to homes, schools, and businesses will spur long-term economic growth, the county is seeking a 1% sales tax to build a fiber optic broadband utility. They estimate the tax will generate $1.7 million to $2 million per year in revenues. The new sales tax would be on most goods purchased in the county, Cortez, Mancos, and Dolores. All registered voters in the county and Ute Mountain Reservation will have the chance to decide the matter at the ballot box. If approved, the sales tax revenues would be earmarked to finance an extensive broadband infrastructure project estimated to cost $39 million. The broadband utility would be an open access network owned by the county and municipalities, but competitively leased to various internet service providers who would deliver the service to customers. The fiber optic project would provide high-speed internet services at a minimum rate of 25 megabytes per second. Currently, outside Cortez, internet speeds are between 1.5 MIPS and 5. The open network system is designed to offer consumers more choices for service. There are various financing options contemplated for the ambitious plan if approved. It could be built out in phases using sales tax revenues and grants generated each year. Or it could be financed and built faster with county-issued revenue bonds or a bank loan. In this case, the revenues generated from the new sales tax would be used to pay back the debt, estimated to take 10 to 15 years. In the face of declining tax revenues from Kinder Morgan CO2 operations, the county has been brainstorming ways to attract more business to boost the economy, create jobs, and stabilize tax revenues to sustain the current level of public services. Commissioner James Lambert agreed to ask voters for the sales tax and compared forming a community-owned internet utility to early water projects. As the owner of the telecommunication road, the county can control rates, officials say, but services will be provided by private industry who pay the county to use the road. For the project to move forward, the county needs voter approval on at least 2 ballot questions, one to clear a legal hurdle and another one for the new sales tax and formation of a broadband authority to manage the project. One ballot question will ask voters to opt out the county out of SB 152, a law that prevents governments from getting into the broadband business. County officials emphasized that they will not be providing telecommunication services. McLean explained that the open network system is designed for any private companies to competitively bid to use county infrastructure in order to deliver their services to customers. User fees collected by the county will be used to pay for the project and maintenance. The second ballot question will be to approve the 1% sales tax and creation of a broadband authority made up of community representatives and technical experts to manage the new telecommunication utility.
Reported by the Durango Herald, a 19-year-old woman died in the Cascade Creek waterfalls Sunday afternoon. Haley Clark from Bayfield drowned in the waterfalls, according to the San Juan County Sheriff's Office Facebook page. Crews with La Plata Search and Rescue and the Durango Fire Protection District helped recover Clark's body, according to the statement posted on the social media site. Our thoughts are with the Clark family and our gratitude with our rescuers, the statement said. 2 other people were also rescued from the falls, said Ron Korkish, the president of La Plata Search and Rescue. Clark's family declined to comment Monday. The flow in Cascade Creek is still high and jumping the falls is not recommended, the statement advised. 3 men were rescued June 27th from the creek after they determined that the water was running too high and fast for jumping down the series of falls, they told rescuers.
From the Cortez Journal, a Montezuma County native and Montezuma Cortez High School graduate was involved in a major scientific breakthrough earlier this winter, the discovery of gravitational waves. Margot Phelps helped install advanced laser interferometer gravitational wave observatory systems in Hanford, Washington and Livingston, Louisiana, which detected gravitational waves in February. She said she's very proud to be a part of the discovery. Phelps, who graduated from MCHS in 2004, attended University of Colorado Colorado Boulder, where she earned a double physics degree and was given the award for Outstanding Physics Graduate in 2008. She then went on to work at LIGO at the California Institute of Technology from 2009 to 2014, where she worked as an engineer on observational lab equipment. Now Phelps is in Scotland, where she received a full-ride scholarship to the University of Glasgow to continue her doctoral research in gravitational waves. She's working to develop ground-based gravitational wave detectors. Phelps has presented research in Budapest, Hungary, and Elba, Italy, and worked this spring at the Kamioka Observatory in Japan. LIGO scientists say that gravitational waves came from merging black holes and represent a ripple in space-time, which would confirm part of Albert Einstein's theory of general relativity. On June 15th, LIGO detected gravitational waves a second time. After the initial detection, scientists had to keep the discovery a secret for about 5 months until they could confirm that they were gravitational waves. Phelps said, "I don't think most people realize what a huge gamble it was to build an observatory to observe something that has never been seen before, that you aren't even sure can be seen, while pushing the limits of what technology can do." Phelps grew up in the country between Cortez and Dolores. She loved being able to run and play outside, and she stargazed from the roof of her family's garage. She started memorizing star clusters and constellations and became interested in the universe. She discovered Stephen Hawking's book, A Brief History of Time, as a freshman in high school and became more interested in physics and astronomy, and later met Hawking while working at Caltech. Many scientists from all over the world have devoted their entire careers to the discovery of gravitational waves. The discovery is important because it's the first direct detection of something Einstein predicted yet doubted the existence of 100 years ago. It opens up a new field of astronomy. Phelps said, "I can only imagine what we will learn in the next few years of operation about black holes, dark matter, neutron stars, or possibly even phenomena we could not previously imagine existing in our universe."
According to the Durango Herald, researchers at one of the nation's federal laboratories are creating simulated lightning as part of an effort to determine how everything from nuclear weapon components to entire buildings will hold up to Mother Nature. Sandia's lightning simulator has been performing tests since the 1970s, but officials say the focus now is on improving the understanding behind lightning and the ways it interacts with various systems. Researchers are looking at how lightning flows through lattices of rebar and what kind of electromagnetic forces are generated when protective wiring is exposed to currents that would be equivalent to a lightning strike or as much as 200 kiloamps. A lightning strike can last a quarter of a second, but the effects can linger. Through computer modeling and testing in the simulator, researchers can ensure that small components, subsystems, and nuclear weapon systems meet requirements whether lightning directly strikes the weapon, the missile, or the aircraft that carries it. The test results are being compared with modeling so researchers can calculate expected forces on protective wiring assemblies. High-speed cameras are helping to capture what's happening. Sandia's simulator creates a lightning pulse like a massive jolt of static electricity by discharging high-voltage generators. A continuing current can be injected between pulses, much like natural lightning. Aside from helping to ensure the safety of the nuclear stockpile, the simulator also was used following a deadly 2006 explosion at a West Virginia coal mine. The Federal Mine Safety and Health Administration asked Sandia to study whether energy from a lightning strike could travel underground to ignite an explosive mixture of gas trapped in a sealed section of the mine. After spending days at the site, a team from Sandia determined that current from a surface strike can generate electromagnetic fields that spread through the earth. The findings were part of mining agency's report to Congress. And now, here's our weather report.
Bluff and Moab are forecast for 97 degrees today. Grand Junction 93, Durango 85, Farmington 92, Telluride 69, and Dove Creek about 64 degrees. 84 degrees. NOAA says we're to have some residual moisture that will give us isolated and scattered showers and thunderstorms in the mountains, and that will stop after sunset. Then the rest of the week will be drier, sunnier, and warmer each day for the rest of the week. So the temperature and moisture relief is over for a while. Local winds are forecast to reach about 14 this afternoon. Humidity will vary from 16% low at 5 p.m. today to 36% high 5 a.m. tomorrow, and declining daily for the rest of the week. Northwest Colorado will again reach red flag conditions tomorrow. There is a Pacific Northwest front expected to move over northern Colorado Thursday and another in the weekend and early next week, but neither of them are carrying much moisture, so the winds with them will likely aggravate fire concerns there. Local concern will also build as the drying and warming trend will continue. A cold front moving eastward through the north central U.S. will make some showers and thunderstorms possible for the next few days. Low-level moisture ahead of the boundary should heighten the risk for heavy rains and severe weather as the front passes through the upper Mississippi Valley today. Heavy rains and strong and severe storms will also be north of the boundary, stalling out over Nebraska Wednesday afternoon. Flash flood concerns in the area northeast of Nebraska for this afternoon should be lessened for tomorrow. It will be hot and humid for the southern half of the nation. Heat advisories have been issued for a large portion of the south central U.S., the Carolinas, and the southeast. High dew points and temperatures will combine to create dangerous triple-digit heat. Here in Dove Creek, high temps for the rest of the week. Look at that, 4 of a kind, 88s every day except Thursday's 86. Lows 3 of a kind, nights at 51 with Thursday 2 lower and Saturday 2 higher. I'm curious what the odds are for a forecast that would have full house numbers for highs and lows at the same time. These are pretty steady numbers though, for sure. Be fire safe always, please. Last week's CO2 average stands at 405.97 parts per million. Week before last, 406.64 parts per million. 1 year ago, 402.11 parts per million, and 10 years ago, 383.31 parts per million. Now back to the news.
According to the Cortez Journal, the hearing took place as firefighters in southwest Colorado mopped up a 66-acre wildfire that began Tuesday east of Marvel and monitored a 68-acre long draw fire near Lone Mesa State Park in Dolores County. Both fires are believed to have been started by lightning. The Wildfire Budgeting Operations and Forest Management Act of 2016 was introduced last month and includes provisions such as improving the technology used to fight wildfires and stopping the practice of fire borrowing, in which the U.S. Forest Service has shifted funds from regular service operations budgets to wildfire budgets after normal funds were depleted. Another aspect of the bill would require agencies to work with states to certify firefighting aircraft before wildfire season begins. In Durango, aircraft used to suppress fires that occur along the Durango and Silverton narrow gauge railroad are not permitted to fight fires outside this jurisdiction. While the railroad is rightfully responsible for fighting fires that come up on the railroad right-of-way, it is my understanding that they are prohibited from fighting fires which come up beyond the rights-of-way in the Forest Service land and must instead just report it instead of actually using their resources to help fight it, Gardner said during the hearing. Gardner specifically mentioned a section of the bill that would require a single system for credentialing both federal and state-certified wildfire aircraft and provide interim acceptance of both standards. He said that he hoped such action would address the railroad situation and allow firefighters there to better protect their community. Gardner asked a witness, Undersecretary for Natural Resources and Environment in the Department of Agriculture, Robert Bonney, what policies the Forest Service has for partnering with private contractors in fighting wildfires. Bonney said that while the Forest Service often partners with private contractors to provide helicopters, he cautioned against using a single credentialing system for state and federal wildfire aircraft due to safety concerns.
From the Cortez Journal report, San Juan County in southeastern Utah is nearly as big as New Jersey, but is home to fewer than 15,000 people. The lower third is part of the Navajo Nation and is almost entirely Ute and Navajo. The upper two-thirds are white and predominantly Mormon. Wilfred Jones, a 61-year-old grandfather, lives in the lower third, 5 miles south of the blink-and-you-miss-it town of Montezuma Creek. It's rough, rocky country where bullet holes riddle the road signs and lonely pump jacks ply oil from the earth. The nearest services are in Blanding, some 40 miles north. 16 years ago, when Jones joined the board of the Utah Navajo Health System, he realized his neighbors were dying because the closest ambulances, the counties in Blanding and the tribes in Kayenta, Arizona, were an hour away on a good day. So Jones asked the county commission if one of San Juan's ambulances could be housed in a garage in Montezuma Creek. But the county wasn't interested. Over the next decade, Jones said he and other health advocates repeatedly tried to get the commission to improve ambulance service on the reservation. But while the sole Navajo commissioner was supportive, the two white commissioners were usually not. Eventually, Jones gave up. The Utah Navajo Health System trained its own EMS volunteers, built a garage, and bought ambulances with tribal and federal funds. Though Native Americans on the reservation don't pay property taxes, they indirectly contribute millions of dollars in oil revenue and federal funds to the county each year, which is supposed to be returned in services like education and health care. But many Navajo requests, from building schools to implementing bicultural education to improving roads, have been denied by Anglo residents who have always held a majority in elected offices, despite comprising less than half of the county's population. Now Native Americans could gain control of county government for the first time. Earlier this year, U.S. District Court Judge Robert J. Shelby ruled that the San Juan County violated both the 1965 Voting Rights Act and the U.S. Constitution by relying on race to draw the boundaries of its voting districts. By engaging in racial gerrymandering, San Juan County systematically diluted the strength of the Native vote, keeping Natives out of power and skewing the makeup of the county commission and the school board. In 1957, Utah became one of the last states in the nation to grant Native Americans the right to vote, doing so only after being forced by a federal judge. Still, it took another 3 decades for the first Native Americans to be elected in San Juan County. It wasn't for lack of trying. County clerks kept Native candidates off the ballots, refused to register Native voters, and held written elections in English, disenfranchising those who were illiterate or didn't speak the language. In the mid-1980s, the U.S. Department of Justice sued San Juan County for violating the Voting Rights Act. The county admitted fault and agreed to implement bilingual voting and create 3 voting districts, one for each county commissioner seat. San Juan County was subsequently divided into 3 chunks. District 1 and 2 were in Anglo territory, and District 3 on Navajo land. It became known as the Indian District. In 1986, it elected Mark Maryboy as the county's first ever Navajo commissioner. But though no one noticed at the time, the way the county drew its lines still violated the Voting Rights Act because it packed minority voters into a single district while spreading the white vote over multiple districts. That meant Native voters could only elect 1 representative of their choice, while white voters got 2, even as the Native population surpassed the white 52 to 46%. Sure enough, Navajos remained in the minority on every governing board. Current County Commissioner Bruce Adams, who was elected in 2004, says allegations he and other elected officials ignored Native Americans' needs are 100% false. Yet, as recently as 1995, the county denied that it was responsible for educating Navajo children. It built a high school in the town of Navajo Mountain only after yet another judge ordered it to do so. A U.S. Department of Justice official, who later reviewed disparities in course offerings between the county's white and Native schools, said in 1997 that he hadn't seen anything so bad since the 60s in the South. Inequality ranged from the classroom to requests to bringing running water or electricity to the Navajo community of Westwater, which were denied in 2007 because one county commissioner argued residents were too poor to pay for utilities anyway. Tribal members have never been appointed to judicial offices and aren't represented on cultural or historical boards. Jones met Leonard Gorman, who's also Navajo, and the executive director of the Navajo Nation Human Rights Commission. In 2011, Gorman began visiting oft-ignored corners of Navajo Nation to learn about residents' concerns. The stories he heard from Jones and others near Montezuma Creek demonstrated intentional discrimination in action. Under both the Voting Rights Act and Utah state law, counties must redraw voting districts at least every 10 years to ensure that the population is spread evenly across districts. But San Juan County hadn't redrawn its voting districts since 1986. Gorman offered multiple times to help the county redraw its boundaries, but was turned away. If there had been 2 Navajos on the county commission, pleas to get an ambulance might have been answered and people could have suffered less. So in 2012, Gorman sued twice, once to redraw the county commission districts and once for the school board. In December 2015 and February 2016, Judge Shelby ruled unequivocally that in the Navajos' favor. He ordered the county to remap both its school board and county commission voting districts. Commissioner Adams says the county is complying. And while there's no guarantee that having the Native American population spread over 2 voting districts will lead to 2 Navajo commissioners, it's likely that, given a fair opportunity, a Navajo majority will elect Navajo candidates. If that happens, Native Americans could control the financial, law enforcement, education, and transportation needs of one of the nation's largest counties for the first time. But given the county's history, many Navajo remain skeptical that the new maps will adhere to the law.
According to the Cortez Journal, Mesa Verde National Park reported Friday afternoon that a lightning strike caused a small fire east of the Cedar Tree Tower archaeological site. Mesa Verde's Park Point Lookout Tower spotted the fire on Tuesday, June 28th, about 3:49 p.m., Park spokeswoman Christy Brown said in a news statement. The fire, named the Painted Kiva Fire, is about 1/10 of an acre and is less than half a mile from Cedar Tree Tower on Park Mesa, said Mesa Verde Assistant Fire Management Officer Keith Krause. The fire is in an area of vegetation, steep access routes, and lack of safety zones for firefighters, Brown said, and the Mesa Verde Fire Management Office is using an indirect attack suppression strategy. There is a low threat to visitors, park infrastructure, and archaeological resources, Brown said, and all park facilities and trails remain open. Should this fire become more visible, park staff will place informational signs on the park roads, Brown said. Krause said fire officers thought earlier in the week the fire might spread, but he speculated that rain on Friday would suppress it and possibly extinguish it. The park plans to provide updated information at park facilities and on the park's website and Facebook pages.
From the Cortez Journal report, in the arid West, where water is precious, sustainable practices are key. The public is invited to learn about ways to reuse and repurpose at the second annual Four Corners Permaculture Convergence, which will be held July 16th to the 17th in Mancos. Permaculture describes systems, such as agricultural practices, that are self-sufficient. Gary Forstar, one of the event organizers, said sustainable practices start at home. The convergence is about sharing with each other how to repurpose old wood, rebuild vehicles with old parts, and especially in this dry area, with water always being an issue, there are ways to store, conserve, and repurpose that. Everything has a purpose, and to waste or burn or throw something out means it can't be reused. Several speakers are slated to give presentations on water retention systems, seed saving, organic pest control, orchard restoration, permaculture design, beekeeping, and building with recycled materials, among other workshops. Grant Curry, who hosted last year's event in Cortez, will be giving classes on the values of digging swales, or shallow ditches that capture rainwater and revitalize dry or eroding land. The technique has been used for thousands of years. Especially in Colorado, erosion mitigation is the most important thing, Curry said. If you want to stop erosion, you've got to slow water down, and swales can do that. Last year, Permaculture Convergence drew 350 people, and Forstar expects about the same to attend this year. The first speakers will start at 9 a.m. on July 16th, and attendees are invited to camp that evening on the premises.
And now the Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup for the week of June 27th through July 3rd. A resident reported several calls from people claiming to be from the IRS. When the wise resident questioned the validity of the call, the caller threatened that the police were on their way to take away their driver's license. When the resident stated the IRS did not make phone calls like this, the scammer called the resident a vulgar name and ended the call. If you receive a call of this nature, do not confirm your identity in any way. If you want to confirm the validity of any IRS correspondence, simply hang up the phone and make a call directly to the IRS at 800-824-0433. While on routine patrol, a deputy cleared road debris found on Highway 491 near Cross Canyon. A resident reported a cell phone call claiming to be from the U.S. Treasury Department. The caller claimed to have recovered up to $9,000. The resident knew it was a scam and wanted to be sure everyone else knew about it. The sheriff's office received a report of an assault at a local residence. The case is under investigation. The sheriff's office received a report of a vehicle accident at Frosty's Liquors, leading to an arrest on charges of DUI. A deputy responded to a request in town for assistance with a landlord-tenant issue. The case was not criminal and was determined to be a civil dispute for the courts. While on patrol, a deputy was flagged down near Scotch Creek to offer assistance locating a bicyclist separated from their riding party. The lone cyclist was located and reunited with their group. A member of the medical community reported a person who may be in danger of harming themselves or others. Deputies responded and transported the subject for a mental health evaluation. A 911 call from south of Lone Cone was reported. It turned out to be an accidental pocket dial from a cell phone. That's it for today's Roundup. Stay tuned this week for more updates.
In today's High Country happenings, today, July 5th, Salida Circus proudly presents the 2016 Summer Circus Olympic Games, 2 p.m. at the Cortez Public Library, 202 North Park Street. Tightrope time trials, clown contortion contests, gesture gymnastics, magical mental workouts, and more. For details, call 970-565-8117. Sunday, July 10th, Open for Discussion, a video series and discussion centered on the National Geographic series, The Story of God, hosted by Morgan Freeman. It's open to the public to meet at 7 p.m. at St. Barnabas Church to ponder questions about the end of time. Child care will be provided. I'm not sure if for the end of time or just for that time. For details, 565-7865. And Friday, July 8th, from 9 a.m. to noon, there's a unique babysitting certification course offered by the Southwest Memorial Annex Building in Cortez. Designed for teens and preteens ages 11 to 16, class will be taught by experienced RNs. Participants will receive a babysitting certificate from the American Health and Safety Institute. The cost is $25. All proceeds benefit the Montelores Cancer Fund. To register or find out more details, call Robin Bragg, she's a nurse, at 970-564-2243 or rbragg@southwesthealth.org. And all of the happenings segment is posted on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with the embedded YouTube replays and the exclusive DCTV 5-day forecast graphic. If you have an event, you can email us at dcbnnews@gmail.com or call the station at 677-4119 and we'll be sure to get it on air.
Thanks for tuning in. This program is aired live at noon Monday through Wednesday and rebroadcast at 2:30 and 8 p.m. on Channel 32.1 Dolores County, on Channel 30.4 in Montezuma County, and their cable Channel 5.
Share this with a friend and watch the broadcast replayed on YouTube and now featured on our Facebook page. Please like us there and spread the word. Today is Talk Tuesday, directly following the broadcast live at 12:30. It's your opportunity to call in and join the conversation. Today's topic is federalization of lands. What do you think? Is Washington going too far? We want to hear from you, so stay tuned.
For Kendra Cook, Jerry Tope, and everyone at DCTV with the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. We'll see you next time.